every girlfriend used to bring with her fashion. Money can be very useful. The Mercedes Benz belongs to Srijit Mukherji. My audience is very, very dynamic, very fickle, absolutely not loyal. Yes, overall, I can be termed as a successful man. Yeah. I'm a very selfish storyteller. Either I'll share your meme or I'll block you.
Welcome to Straight Up with Shree. It's really an honor today to have with me at this beautiful Park Hotel my dear friend and five-time National Award-winning director, lyricist, Dora, there's more, statistician, I think also a social media commentator as well as a cricket commentator. Maybe sometime in the future, even a music director. And of course, somebody who writes the stories that we relive many, many times, both on celluloid and on OTT. Thank you, Srijit Mukherji. Firstly, welcome. Thank you for making the time and hope you enjoy yourself on this show as well. Srijit ke ato shomayar jonne pawa is a big plus. Srijit used to have his own show which I used to watch. So I'm really nervous for a change being in conversation with you. I would like to take you right to the beginning. You studied in a school called Dolna in Kolkata, and you credit that school for filling up some of the absence that you faced in your life because your parents were separated. Tell us a little bit about your childhood. I know you were an imaginative child.
So, my childhood was, so it can be divided into two parts. The first part, I had working parents. Second part, I had separated parents. But throughout the entire span, Dolna was a huge influence on me because it molded my growing up years, the ethics, the values with which I operate. There was a huge musical influence of Dolna because I think that morning assembly before we went to our classes, we used to sing songs for 1 hour and songs which were diverse, traveling from Tagore songs to Rajanikanto Atul Prasad to Beatles to John Lennon and folk songs from various states of India. So the musical influence in that sense was very deep, which kind of came from Dolna. Apart from that, yes, of course, both my parents were like professors, one of architecture, one of anatomy, largely. And then later when they separated, then again, it kind of worked as a proxy pillar of support.
Right.
And growing up, the formative years were interesting. Also, I think there's a fair bit of self-sufficiency, which was kind of forced onto me because I was forced into taking care of myself and uh, becoming a grown up uh, pretty fast.
Adulting.
Yes, adulting. So in that sense, I think the growing up years, the formative years, were very interesting.
Is that why you used your imagination to fill up perhaps the absence of a father figure or, just that void?
Well, I didn't talk to myself, but yes, there was a lot of writing, poetry, journals. There was a lot of sketching actually,
Right.
and there was a lot of sports. I used to play a lot. I was really, I was into a lot of cricket and football and badminton. My parents separated in 1992, so I was 15. And 1992, the same year, there was an album which released called Tomake Chai by Shuman Chattopadhyay, Kuru Shuman. So that album plays a very big role because the songs, Shumanda's songs, they became a proxy father figure. I used to seek solace. I used to learn about my language. I used to, kind of get aligned with my city, its ethos. So all this helped me evolve. So that album has a very special place because from then started a different kind of a journey.
I'd love for you to share the Colgate story because I find that so definitive, you know,
Yes.
in most of our lives, jekhane less was more
Just was.
and it had to be more, right?
So both my parents, they emphasized on simple living, high thinking. We stayed in a very, very cramped 15 by 15 kind of a space in Bhawanipur, where there was no space because there was so many books, so much of books all around. And the extension of simple living, high thinking kind of percolated down even to my toothpaste, because according to my father, our preferred toothpaste was Four Hands and not Colgate, because according to him, Colgate had a lot of foam and foam was useless. What was necessary was a substance and a toothpaste which would get to the point, which is basically betterment of your gums. And so Four Hands was a preferred toothpaste. Statesman was a preferred, paper, because it was very, very mundane and boring. I remember Telegraph had colored pages then, but Statesman was black and white.
But English.
But the substance,
Right.
solid English which you can actually learn, which could actually sharpen your overall persona.
Right.
Shopping for new clothes was looked down upon. Shopping for new books were, encouraged. So whenever there is any shopping or any occasion to buy new things,
Janmadine boi.
yes, books. At best, maybe toys, but never clothes or perfumes, because those are considered to be, luxuries.
Right.
I'm blissfully ignorant and unaware of clothes. When I come out after taking a bath, whatever is there handy, I just wear it.
Right.
I don't spend time thinking about clothes, what to wear, this, that. And I've run into a lot of trouble with my girlfriends because of that. I mean, they have really...
They want you to be better dressed.
Yeah, and the strange thing is that every girlfriend used to bring with her fashion. So if you see my dressing pattern, it changes according...
But you've been malleable enough.
Yeah, because I've been not interested enough
In the clothes.
in the clothes. So, with my phases, right from high school, college, my clothing has changed with the
Women.
With my partners and her aesthetics.
Right.
I've always spent a lot on traveling. Food. I'm a
Food.
foodie. Yeah.
I didn't mention that in your introduction. A food blogger to bola jaye na, but
Yeah.
I think a food lover.
Connoisseur.
A connoisseur, yeah. I mean, so much of your social media is khana.
Yeah.
From all the different shoot sites
Absolutely.
and, countries that you visit. But tell me, now you are definitely, undoubtedly, the city's biggest and most well-known and commercially viable and successful director. Success, by God's grace, has flooded you since your debut film Autograph, which incidentally is one of my favorite films in, from all languages. But today you're in a branded car, you have a multi-crore home which is splashed across tabloids, photo shoot hoche, you're traveling to exotic destinations. You think some of that is that I'm sure all of us had it, that we looked at those Punjabi kids in our school. I mean, we had a lot of Marwari and Punjabi girls in our school who were doing all those things back then. They were coming in Contessa and going to America. Mone ache Contessa.
Yeah.
So, eta ki kichuta is, your now that lifestyle is some of it to compensate the very Madhyapittapana of your childhood?
Good question. I've often thought about it. I would say what is more critical is what is inside that multi-crore home. I mean, are there books? So I have a whole library, and I spend a lot on books, on Harry Potter memorabilia again. So
Potterhead.
I'm a Potterhead. So money can be very useful. So my father, who's no more there, I would have loved to have this conversation with him and tell him that, yes, of course, simple living and high thinking, but for high thinking, the ingredients that you need, they are very costly nowadays. So money can also be
used for that.
Fruitfully utilized.
Right.
And as far as the car is concerned, I think it is actually a very comfortable car. And for me, more than the brand, the comfort is of prime importance. Now, sadly, there is a direct correlation between comfort and money.
Brand and money. Yeah.
So for me, the focus has always been on comfort, on travel, on good food. So if I'm a foodie, and I'm foodie, so I go to my para roller dukan also. I have that also.
Can you?
I do that, and I do that. I mean, I can't step out on the, the road and always have it because selfies.
Yeah.
That. But my car, my car is parked there, and the egg roll comes to me. Me going to
now the egg roll comes to you.
The egg roll comes to me. But I do indulge in that, and I also indulge in the most, high-flying French cuisine also.
Crocodile meat.
Yeah, so exotic meat is one of my...
Yeah, I know that.
So I think in such matters, I think money can be very fruitfully utilized and useful. And success gives you that leeway, for which I'm absolutely thankful. And I will not grudge myself that.
Yeah. But I've seen your mother, I've seen your sister. Srijit met with a near fatal accident a couple of years ago, and that's when I visited you in hospital.
10 years ago.
10 years ago? Yeah. It's been 10 years.
It's been 10 years.
I actually know you for 10 years. Now you're a friend. If we are still talking, 10. And yeah, we're friends. So I've seen Srijit's mother. I never met your father, but your mother is just like my mother, as I've often mentioned to you. I can see her being this strict disciplinarian, somebody who's always going to be very distant and critical of my work, but supportive, who'll always stand by me, but also not be a sycophant like ja korcho, darun korcho and that. How do they react to your success?
No, they're absolutely unaffected.
Okay.
It doesn't matter to them. In fact, my mother is more interested in what Shibu Prasad is making rather than what I am making.
Okay.
And so she's her firm favorite is Shibu, and I keep telling Shibu that. And she would say, "Don't show them violence."
আর গালাগালটা নিয়ে কি বলে?
গালাগালটা একটু
কমাও।
গালাগাল, violence, adult themes. So she prefers Shibu's films, and about the paraphernalia of success, she's blissfully unaware. She just because her relatives and friends are kind of. So whenever there's a premiere, she will say, "Acha, shon, 22টা, 28টা, 27টা ticket lagbe, bujhli," and very apologetically.
Right. So yeah, I can believe that.
Yeah, I said, "Why are you saying like this?" It's okay, it's my film, and না, but আবার কি দরকার, টিকিটটা তো তো এমনি নরমালি তো কিনেও দেখতে পারে, কিন্তু সবাই বলে না পাস চাই প্রিমিয়ারের এই চাইছি। হ্যাঁ, নাও তোমার ছেলের প্রিমিয়ার, তুমি পাস এরকম ভাবে চাইছো কেন? ইটস ওকে, রিল্যাক্স। সো ওটা এখনো আছে, শি ইজ ভেরি apologetic about using privileges or benefits which come from the she can't stand the sight of my mark. So মা নিজের গাড়ি আছে আর বলে যে বড্ড নিচু, গাড়িটা বড্ড উঁচু, উঠতে অসুবিধা হয় and all that. In fact, there's another thing, I have never driven my mark. So there's a driver for that, and he drives me around. Whenever I take my car out, it's my Etios. That is the car I identify with. That is, my pet name is Riju. So when I take that car out, that is my time with the city, my time with Kolkata roads. That's Riju's car. The Mercedes-Benz belongs to Srijit Mukherji. And in my mind, the distinction is very clear. I go for drives during the night where Kolkata is at its prettiest. I go to PG, I have Maggie and tea in front of PG. I go for drives on the Ma flyover. And so I have my
me time.
And that me time happens in the Etios. It never happens in the Mark.
So how often does Srijit Mukherji today, now, Akhon, Ajke Dine, get a chance to become Riju?
Well, not very often, because and this is something I have brought onto myself, because I have this manic urge to tell stories. I sleep very little. Most of my time, my mind is working, which is why I often come across as distracted and for some even arrogant. But it's actually, I'm constantly thinking of stories to tell and how to tell them. Newer frontiers of storytelling, how to, for example, Oti Uttam, which is
Pushing the envelope.
How to, make films which would force people to come and watch them at the theatres, because nowadays there's so much of distraction.
Yeah.
So many options.
Absolutely.
It's very difficult to lure or entice the audience to come into the theatres. And unlike Shibu's audience, which is a very loyal,
more family, I would think.
Family audience, TV watching audience, the ma's and the mashis.
Yeah, the budis and the didis.
My audience have been very young, even from Baishi's Trouble. So hence they have been very fickle, because constantly there are this OTT and Netflix and Korean films and Thai. So constantly my audience is very, very dynamic, very fickle, absolutely not loyal. And it will just take one film for them to turn from a Srijit loyalist to a Srijit that troll. But that is the fun, and I like that. Because the conversion also happens, the reverse conversion also happens. I don't like the concept of a captive audience, the same audience repeatedly coming over and over again.
Right.
I mean, there is a captive audience, but that is just an intersection, in a Venn diagram of various age groups. There is a captive audience, but that's a very small captive audience which I have.
Right.
Most of my audience, they are rapidly changing in terms of the age group and the sensibility and the demographics. A reason for that is also because I rapidly change my genres.
Yeah.
There are so many different kinds of films I make.
Yeah.
It's very difficult for me to have a captive audience. Suppose I make something like a Chotushkon, which is a wholesome, nutritious Bengali thriller. The next film I make is Nirbak, which deals with necrophilia. And people are shocked. And they are saying, what I mean,
what's going on?
Where did this come from?
Yeah.
So
what's he smoking?
And they can't box me. They can't categorize me.
They can't.
And that has continued even till Executive to Claim.
Even this movie.
Even Oti Uttam, before that Shabash Mithu, and then Sher Dil. So this is such a diverse variety of things that I make. It's very difficult for a person to put his fingers and, okay, this is a typical Srijit Mukherji film. Hence, I don't have a captive audience.
Yeah. I met a film critic. I won't take the name. I know that's a very cliche thing to say, naam ne bona. But the funny thing is, she said the funniest thing to me once about you, and I think that is a compliment. She said, I think Srijit Mukherji has multiple personality disorder. Because every film of Srijit, you can't tell that it's the same director. The vision, the language, the expanse of, the period, the sensibilities, the relationship dynamics, even the hair, makeup, the camera work, it is so different. Like every director has a chap, but he doesn't. And another thing, which I find unusual, and I was waiting for you to come on my podcast to ask you this. Whenever I say you've launched my books, for instance, or you've come and spoken to my community status single, everybody asks me, Acha Srijit kirokom re? I don't know why I'm asked that, So I said, Mane, Shuneji is very moody. And I think it comes from the fact, jeta tumi ekhoni bolle, je you're very distracted. Like even when you came in today, I'm going to be honest with you, I thought, is he in a bad mood or what? Because yesterday he was laughing, he was having, spaghetti carbonara at the status single chat, and because when one meets you, you're not there. But I think I have also, shared stories with you, and I think you are one of the most meditative listeners.
So when I entered, I was actually editing Heluda. Because I was editing Feluda before I came here. So there was one scene which was playing in my head, and I was looking for the correct cut point. Where will I cut the shot? So that was happening while I was also testing the mic, and the coffee was coming, and everything was happening almost in an alternate universe. So in front of me there was a screen,
Right.
and the editing was happening, and slowly the screen dissolved away, and I
this
came
happened.
into this space.
Yeah.
So that is how most of my things happen.
Tell me about your old friends. You know, your JNU pals, your friends from Dolna.
So they are my godsend. They are my lifesavers. There are a few in Bangalore. There are a few. Some of them have moved to London and Florida. So they've scattered all over the world.
But theatre is Shomai থেকে।
Theatre is Shomayikar Bondhu, college Bondhu, university Bondhu. So they are there. They are whatever might be the time difference. They will take the call on the second ring.
But do you take the call?
I also do that.
Okay.
With them, I also do that. And but it's a very small number, a very small handful of people.
Were you always like this, absent-minded, distracted, thinking at breakneck speed?
Not to this extent, maybe. Because, yes, but I think I was, because I remember my mother telling me that don't become a doctor because you might end up killing people. Because you might just leave the scalpel inside the body after a surgery, and
so we absent-minded.
You might forget to stitch him up after the surgery, and that might cause...
She must be so proud that you're not a doctor.
Yeah. She said, do whatever you have to do.
Yeah,
don't
become a doctor.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm guessing I was always absent-minded, but then again, this has aggravated, itself, given the numerous things which go on, given the multitasking, which kind of...
Does this somewhere emerge from a fear of failure? Because you've never tasted failure.
No, it's not that I've not tasted failure. I think Bombay, apart from Ray and Javas, and to an extent Sheikh Dil and Shabash Mittu on OTT, I don't think any of my films, Hindi films, have worked on the big screen. So it's not that I've not faced failure, but yes, overall I can be termed as a successful man. Yeah. But it's not a fear of failure, it's a fear of death. Death not because I am afraid of dying, because death means that the show's over. Death means the end scroll has come. And you can't tell stories anymore. You can't have great food anymore. You can't watch cricket anymore.
Right.
For me, death means that. So mortality is one of my driving forces to tell stories, as many stories as I can, while I can tell stories.
But you're not scared to be forgotten. You will not be forgotten.
Yeah. So that's another thing. So I know whatever I have done till now, that is good enough for me to become a small footnote.
Right.
Maybe not more than that, but a small footnote in the history of Bengali cinema. But it's not about the others. It's always about myself. I'm a very selfish storyteller. Which is why when people ask me, so how do you target audience? How do you understand what will work and what? You are very good at marketing. You have this sense of. I said, sir, I'm not very good at anything apart from making films which I would like. Making films which I would enjoy watching. My audience, the only audience I target is myself. Because that is the only audience I know. Because I know the people at Asansol will not enjoy what maybe a people at Austin will.
Correct.
Or a people at Alaska will. So the only person I know is myself. So I make films for myself, and I keep my fingers crossed, that hoping that people will like it. Why? Not for validation. So that my producer gives me money to make my next film.
Correct. Obviously, yeah, of course.
Because for him, it's a
business.
Business. So if people like it, he'll get back money. If he gets back money, he'll say, "Achha, what is the next story that you want to say?" So which is why for me,
गाड़ी चलता रहता है.
गाड़ी चलता रहता है, और मैं अपनी कहानियाँ जो है अपने तरीके से बोल सकूँ.
Srijit, you're somebody who hates interference. You're your own person. Right from your first film, where your producers were sort of a bit hesitant about the ending, right? It was an open-ended sort of last twist in the tale, so to speak. So the heroine goes off to the hills. The hero, so to speak, there were two, but one of them is like, going to make commercial cinema. I always thought autograph is autobiographical. I always thought so. I think first films are, in a way, right? From that time, holding fort and saying, boss, I am going to do my own thing. Has that come at a price? Has that made you seem like difficult to some? And like I've also heard the reverse where people say, oh, wo to SVF hai mane, he's like a kena. Pappu hai SVF ka. So, matlab, how do you deal with that? And what is the truth? Because I know as a person, you're very like, amake amar moton thakte dao.
I have loved working. It's very difficult for people to even believe that I don't have an agreement with SBF still.
Right? Is that so?
Yeah, there is no contract.
Okay.
The only contract is, thou shall not enter my edit room.
Like the 10 Commandments.
10 Commandments. And to give the devil its due, because SBF, according to a lot of people, a monopoly, this, that. To be fair to Shrikant and Moni, they have never interfered.
Right.
I mean, and from Baisha Savan onwards, it's easy not to interfere because then I had already become the Srijit Mukherji.
Right.
But in autograph also they didn't interfere. They merely voiced that we think that starting from who do you think should direct the film? I said, Shrikant, only I can direct the film. No one in the world can.
But you had no experience.
I hadn't seen a movie camera till
then. Oh my God.
But I was very cocky because I knew that how difficult can it be? I'm doing my MPhil from JNU. The scientific way of approaching any new subject is you do a literature review, you consult the field experts, and then you do it. I mean, how difficult can it be? So I learned filmmaking, I read, and I was an avid film buff. I had watched a lot of film. So I told them that only I can make it. And from then onwards, they have only voiced their opinions. They have never imposed, which is why I love working with SVF. That is so. Which is why the perception outside is that pappu vappu kuch nahi hai. They take care of the film, of their own films like nobody's business. They are strong when it comes to distribution. So your child gets the maximum mileage.
Yeah.
The strongest distribution chain. And when you're making the film, they don't interfere. There can't be a better combination with this.
A lot of filmmakers, like, everybody's talking about Hira Mandi, Bansali, his own production house. So many directors in Bollywood today, have their own production companies. Have you ever thought of going that path?
No, I do have a production house, Matchcut Productions Private Limited. We've line produced Sherdil, the film with Pankaj Tripathi and Neeraj Kabir. We have co-produced Shahjahan Regency. We've been a co-producer on Oti Uttam. So I have a company, but it's a much smaller company. A big company, a small company which mostly gives assistants, technicians to a project, and we have a kind of a small team, and it's not a very big scale thing. I don't want to get into full scale production because I think in any case I'm very distracted. Now, along with Feluda Edit, if I also have to think which vendor is giving me the generator at a cheaper cost, then I'll be 100 times more distracted, which will be
crazy.
Disastrous.
Yeah. Coming to your films now, Srijit. This is a podcast where a lot of my audience are women. And as a feminist myself, as a writer, as a woman, the women in your films have always been exceptional. And like I've told you many times before, I think the women are, to me, almost like the heroes of your film because they're sorted, they're sexually very, very sort of, unabashed. They are sometimes foul-mouthed, as we saw in Raj Kahini. They take on the system, a word which you use beautifully, and obviously you're the creator. Their moral compass is absolutely on point, right? The men, on the other hand, are more fractured, more complicated, more distracted,
Flawed, heavily flawed.
Yeah.
Probir Rai Chaudhuri is definitely a borderline misogynist.
Yeah.
He's a serial killer. So he's ruthless and foul mouthed and not a nice person to know. So yes, so I guess that's my overall takeaway from the kind of men and women I've known in my life. I mean, I've generally been with more sorted. I mean, the human beings I've generally been with who have been more sorted are
women.
Yeah. So that kind of, I guess, reflected.
And you mentioned something which caught my attention, and I sort of registered it, which was that all your lovers and partners have influenced you.
Oh, majorly.
And you're writing of women characters. You're, sort of etching women characters.
Majorly.
I mean, how many men even say that and acknowledge it? I don't think men do. And you've managed to remain friends with some of your exes.
Absolutely.
Which is amazing, because usually not always, but usually even in the case of a divorce or when men and women part, it's always a bloodbath. There's tears, there's bitterness, there's betrayal, there's, sometimes cheating, there's misunderstanding, there's miscommunication, there's feeling of, resentment. Someone becomes more successful after that, finds somebody soon enough, so much. But you recently were with me when we watched LSD 2, which starred Swastika, and out of all the people who she had very kindly invited to watch that particular show, I think, again, when you watch a film, and this is not the first time I'm seeing it, it's meditative. It's like you're in a trance. You're not munching on popcorn, you're not doing the bullshit PNPC. You're into character, literally. So, I don't want to say this, but a lot of people think you're a ladies' man. Right? Because you're constantly in the news for your, relationships and so-called breakups and so on and so on. Affairs and link-ups. And I think that's part of the parcel, right? Like, if you come to an event with a girl, immediately eyebrows will be raised. Eta ki Srijite notun find, notun girlfriend, eki break the middle-aged directors have been known to, face these kind of, invasive sort of curiosity. Tell me about how the women in your life, Srijit, have influenced the writing of some of your favorite characters.
There have been a number of strong women, very, very strong women I've been with. I mean, of course, it all started with my mom.
Right. I would think so.
And she's been fiercely independent. And she's led her life on her own terms. And mostly I've been with women who have done that. One of the prime examples being Swastika. And I think all of them, to varying degrees, have influenced the writing of characters, women characters, and especially strong women characters in my films. Because I feel that life is the best source. I've shamelessly drawn from life. After watching Executive to Prem, a number of my ex-lovers have written to me saying that this episode, should I charge royalty for this, because you have shamelessly lifted it from our life. So I've told them that no, but no one knows that, right? But it was so cinematic, I couldn't resist myself. So similar with characters, I think they've influenced me a lot, and some of them have been very interestingly named also.
Really?
Yeah, and those references, those pet names, those terms of endearment, only I and the person with whom I shared it.
So, is that a good way for them to get back in touch with you?
That is a good way of them knowing that
they are not forgotten.
They are not forgotten, and this is my tribute, this is my nod, this is my humble, respectful, doffing of the hat for them. So that the way you've touched my life, it remains, and it remains for posterity. There's a very beautiful saying that if a writer falls in love with you, you will never die.
Yes.
So I just extend it to a filmmaker.
But you're a writer too, a prolific one at that. But is that also because you struggle to forget? It's tough for you to forget.
I don't want to forget also. I think memories, again, are the biggest bank from which I draw from. So I really think forgetting, if it's eternal sunshine of the spotless mind kind of
Right.
scenario, it's different. But apart from that, I don't think forgetting is something which I approve of.
Right. Well, that's a quotable quote. Forgetting is not something Srijit Mukherji approves of. Now, coming to your heroes, at one point, one saw you always with Boombada. He was your favorite. And then one heard about, a breakup, an alleged parting of ways, rift. Then came Jishu Sengupta, and of course, you guys were friends. There were pictures of house parties, and you cast his daughter in a beautiful film, Uma, which I made my sister watch. It's lovely. And then now it's Anirban, with whom you claim to have a premier Shamporko, quote unquote. Is that because Srijit Mukherji can't forget men also?
So once you fall in love, it's very difficult to forget.
With men also?
With men also.
Sure, huh?
Yeah,
You're sure about that?
Absolutely.
So that's who you are as a person, that's your personality.
Absolutely. And I think there is always there's this moment of epiphany which happens with anyone who is dear to me, be it a man, be it a woman. With Boombada it has happened. With Jishu it has happened. With Porom it has happened. And of course with Anirban it has happened. So eventually, and evidently you find these four people cast in some permutation or some combination.
But is that because, sorry to interject, but is that because there is nobody else here?
No, I would not say so. I think there are options. But I'm most comfortable working with them because I understand them very well.
Right.
They understand me very well.
Right.
They know that what I expect out of them when they come to my set. What is the level of preparation I expect? What is the level of homework I expect? And be it Prashanjit Chatterjee or be it Anirban Bhattacharya, they do that and they come to the set. Be it Jishu, be it Porom, they do that and they come to the set. Which is why I save a lot of time. And we have such scant resources working.
Right.
That level of understanding is absolutely critical and necessary for me to complete films in 15 days or 17 days or 20 days.
All these people you mentioned, I've seen them hobnobbing with you at various times. Rift hoyeche, abar you're back, not back. Are any of them your friends?
It's an interesting question. Depends on how you define friends. I would say I've had very interesting conversations with Anirban late at night. That's usually when we talk. And we've discussed a lot of things, theatre, politics, things not pertaining to work.
Right.
If you define friends like that, then Anirban, definitely. Then Jishu, definitely. With Jishu, in fact, with Jishu, it's more like the entire family. So it's like Jishu, Nilanjana, Sara, Zara. So all of them come together as one entity, and I've been like family to them. Porom, off and on. I would not say with a lot of consistency, off and on. Boombada, I mean, it's been mostly work. Beyond work, it's not that we've chilled together on
Right.
Though I do have other friends, like Srijato is a dear friend. Anupam and I stay in the same apartment. Though we don't meet very often, but whenever we meet, it's a lot of fun. The thing that you mentioned about the loneliness and nothingness and all that, I think that applies to all artists.
Right, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's not something specific to directors.
Right.
I think all artists are essentially lonely.
Yeah, they're loners.
They're loners even when they're in the middle of a crowd.
Absolutely.
So I guess it's kind of universal. I don't think it really specifically applies to...
So do you have a 3 a.m. friend in the industry?
Actually, I am my own 3 a.m. friend. I talk to myself in matters of crisis, and
like you self-soothe?
I self-soothe. I find peace in my own work, or my pet pythons now.
Yeah. Five? What
yeah.
were you thinking? Did they all come together?
No. They came one by one. Yeah.
So are you building up like a snake museum or something?
I would say yes. I'm building up an army of friends,
Okay.
an army of near and dear ones,
Okay.
and I still have room for 3 more.
What?
Yeah, so 8 I think is a nice number to have,
But people will stop going to your house.
which is something which is a very useful thing. I mean, so there are people. I really don't explain that most of. I mean, all of them are in my 4th floor, and the 5th floor is we can easily meet. Some people I explain that, and people whom I don't want them to come to my house, I don't explain anything. I just say, "Oh, actually, you don't want to come."
I would be like petrified.
But they are very docile, very misunderstood.
वो तो मानुष खाए.
No, actually, ball pythons don't have.
ना खाए ना. My God.
अभी तो भी खाएगा ball pythons.
Mice. They have mice.
They have mice. They are very docile. In fact, কোনো পাইথনই ঠিক মানুষ খায় না, মানুষ খেকো পাইথন ওরকম হয় না, যেরকম মানুষ খেকো বাঘ হয়, পাইথন হয়, but they're very misunderstood. They're very docile, and problem is আমাদের local superstitions, stories like
সাপের
বেহুলা, লক্ষিন্দর, দুধ কলা দিয়ে কালচা পোতা, পরীক্ষিত, জন্মজ, all these have vilified the species for a reason also. They're very, very gentle, very most of the time very timid and scared, and they roll up into a ball, which is why they're called ball pythons.
Okay.
But they're scared.
Okay.
They're very cute.
Do you see parts of yourself in them?
No, if I had to identify with the animal, I would identify myself with a type.
How has your personal view on romance changed over the years? Because you've obviously, I like the fact that you, in a sense, wear your heart on the sleeve. You've never hidden a girlfriend, you've never hidden a breakup, you've been open about, your divorce, you've been open about your remarriage, your love for your daughter now. How have you changed when it comes to women, romance, your idea of a family?
I think I'm unsettling down. I'm forever in the state of unsettling down. Settling down sounds too mossy, too stagnant. And I feel, in general, I think romance now, not only myself, when I see people around me, my friends and the next generation, so I think it has opened up. In the sense, it has become much more inclusive. Various things are now being openly discussed, which were always there, but new terms have been coined.
Correct.
And those newly coined terms are being discussed. They're dissected, advantages and disadvantages being brought to the table, and a lot of people adopting them as well. Terms like polyamory.
Absolutely.
Terms like benching, breadcrumbing,
gaslighting,
and so I think a total new body of jargon has crept into romance now, and for every shade of romance or love, for every kind of love, you have a term, and the term is something which is useful because it normalizes it. Questions like, can you fall in love with 2 people at the same time?
Right.
Really complicated questions. So those questions have been normalized now because terms have been associated, and those terms are being defined and discussed openly. Terms like friends with benefits.
Yeah. No strings attached.
No strings attached. So I think various shades and colors of relationships are now being defined and hence normalized.
But don't you think that's taken away the intensity of romance? I mean, it's just become sometimes very transactional, very, I do you, you do me, bhal lagche na, just go your own way, your way or the highway. Has it become that?
No, I think there is intensity where there is supposed to be intensity.
Okay.
So there are relationships where intensity is still there, and there are relationships where intensity was imposed previously. Now that imposition has gone away. So you look at a relationship for what it is and you define it like what it is. You don't get into vague grey areas and ill-define it or misdefine it and confuse people.
Right.
So if it's friends with benefits, it's friends with benefits. If it's intense
It's
love,
intense.
it's
Yeah.
love. If it's a long haul, it's the long haul. If it's a short fling, it's a short fling. So I think the categorization has become very distinct.
Because I've got you in the hot seat, what kind of a lover are you? What kind of a man in love are you? Long haul, intense?
Depends on the woman, actually.
Okay.
Totally depends on the
Okay,
woman.
so nice. Ball in our court.
No, I've been in almost all relationships known to mankind. So
Okay.
all shapes, sizes,
Colors.
shades, intensities, intentions, duration. So it absolutely depends. There's another new term which has come up, situationship.
Yeah, situationship.
So, see, I mean, we've like, it's become like botany now.
Right.
You have a Latin name for
Right.
every.
There's an algorithm for attraction now.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've seen, this is sort of a characteristic all over the country that, famous personalities in the public arena, especially actors and directors and stars, so to speak, even sports people are getting into politics. Some say that it's an easy way to make money. Some say that it's just a way to make more films, make more books, make more art, because you're allied with people in power, and power is money and, all of that. Have you ever thought about it? Because a lot of your films have a politics to it. The lens is very political.
I'm politically very aware.
Yeah.
And I'm politically very opinionated as well. The problem with active party politics is that there is no room for dissent. And for me to 100% align with any party lines is very difficult. Mine is a more issue-based political response, for which I have my Facebook handle, my Twitter.
I've seen that, yeah.
So whatever I have to express, I express there.
Right.
Whatever I have to express, I express through my films. Sometimes people interpret it as I'm a right-wing guy.
Yeah.
Sometimes people interpret it as I'm a left-wing guy.
Yeah.
Sometimes they call me a centrist.
Pin you down.
They can't pin me down because it differs from issue to issue. If on a certain issue my stand is definitively not aligned with the left, they will immediately call me right wing, and vice versa. And I like it that way because I think I'm a party by myself. I'm a party symbol by myself. I'm a ballot box by myself. And I'm a vote by myself. And I do not need the strength of a party support or a dedicated symbol to qualify my political opinion. I think I'm informed enough and balanced and sorted enough to have a political opinion without any influence and express it through my films or my social media.
So we have a very fun section, Srijit, called the straight up section.
Right.
Well, I hope it's not totally frivolous, but the answers can be fun, they can be, raunchy, they can be political, they can be anything you want it to be. So, I love the way you take on your trolls. I think somebody should actually make a film or write a book or do a documentary on the way you've used your sense of humor to completely annihilate them at times, The party, the institution is going to decide whether you qualify to be in my good books or not.
Either I'll share your meme or I'll block you.
Yeah, share
Depends on how good you are.
How good you are. Has there ever been a troller, for lack of a better word, who you've met in real life?
Yes,
and, and the experience of that, has there been a fun memory of that?
It was an outrageously funny memory because mostly, and I correctly predicted, mostly trolls are very shy people.
And mostly men, right?
Mostly men,
right?
Shy, who've possibly not achieved a lot in life, possibly underachieved, and they use the anonymity of social media to take that out.
The frustration.
And when they meet you, they're meeting a person, a personality who commands some presence, and that kind of gets to them, and they almost shrink, physically shrink. And I've seen that happen with people who've trolled me online, and when I've met them, they're like, they don't know what to do.
How do you recognize them?
They have been common friends who have introduced.
God. And what do you say to them?
So, hi, let's have a session right now. Let's
Like a jugalbandi.
no, let's have it face to face. No, Lodai. I'll keep quiet. I want you to troll me on my face, and let's see where that takes us.
What do they say?
Sir.
Dada. Sir.
দাদা স্যার আপনি কেন মাইন্ড করছেন আপনি আমরা না আমি মাইন্ড করছি না ওর খুব মজা লেগেছিল ওই কথা বা ওই মিমটা স্টাফ লাইক দ্যাট
You're even editing this surely.
because I feel I can troll myself the best.
The best. Right.
আমি নিজেকে নিয়ে যদি মিম করি that will be the best.
The best, right. You know, stars, celebrities face a lack of privacy. আমরা সবাই জানি, I've seen মানে তুমি বেরোচ্ছ আমার বুক লঞ্চ থেকে গাড়িতে উঠছো ঢুকে গেছো তখন করে লোকে সেলফি নিচ্ছে একটা মজার সেলফির গল্প বলো আমাদের. You know, I know you have a really funny one which I have rechristened কিন্তু সেটা তুমি বলো. I think that's more fun.
So I was in a restroom once and there was a gentleman beside me who was also in the restroom.
Okay.
And he didn't realize it was me. So we were looking straight, both of us, as men do.
In a urinal, facing a urinal, yeah.
And so he turned like this, and then he became like this. And I was like this, I smiled. And in that position, he said, he was almost turning 180 degree. Luckily, he didn't.
Thank God.
And he said, sir, ekta selfie nebo.
Sir?
So I said, can we finish what we've started and then, you know, after washing our hands, can we...
So এটা যদি hashtag হতো, it would be Srijit Susu selfie.
Susu.
How could
Susu.
selfie, you know? It's like, you know, shushu kote kote selfie, okay? Because we were on exes, would you rather be friends with your exes just without any benefits or sex with your exes with all the benefits?
Depends on the ex, no?
Okay, there's so many that, you know, okay, so depends on the ex. When it comes to newcomers, Srijit, you've given so many of them their big break, right? Who would you say is, you know, if you had to pick a man and a woman, who would you say are the two, I know it's unfair probably, but who do you think are the two most promising talents that, you know, we should watch out for?
Amongst men, definitely Anujoy Chattopadhyay. I think he's an explosive talent, just waiting for that right, you know. And I've already started, you know, casting him. He's there in Podatik, Mrinal Sen's biopic, in a role where he doesn't have any lines. He's there for one scene, but that will remain with you. He's so powerful. He was playing Priyanka's husband in Logic.
Yes.
He's a very, very powerful, very potent actor. Onindo Sengupta is a very intelligent actor as well. I've launched him in Oputkom and later in Executive to Play.
Yeah.
I think he's a very, very, very intelligent actor. He has the next door, boy next door charm kind of a thing, and he's sharp. Amongst women, I would definitely say Shruti. Shruti Das is again a fantastic actor. I think her performance in Executive to Play was really the highlight of the film. Shreya Bhattacharya. She's come into her own in Beline, which is possibly the best Bengali film of the year, and she's very powerful. She was there in Kholam Kuchi as well, and Vinci Academy, this web series. She's a very, very, very powerful actor.
Is there any director in Tollywood, you know, be it someone senior or your contemporary or junior, who you're really envious of? His talent, his vision, you wish you could be them?
Undoubtedly, Kaushik Ganguly.
Okay.
I think Kaushik I call him Dumbledore, because I've learned a lot of scenario writing, sequence writing, dialogue writing from his telefilms. I used to religiously follow his telefilms. His and Anjandas when I was, you know, working as a econometrician and a statistician, and kind of sharpening my storytelling tools. So Kaushik Da, for sure, he's my favorite contemporary Bengali filmmaker as well.
A film of yours which you absolutely regret making?
None. Why? Because every film, even as a film, if I don't enjoy, there are some memories associated with that film I really treasure. For example, absolutely abhor Yeti Obijan as a film, but the experience of making Yeti Obijan is possibly one of the most exciting of them. You know, flying an entire set by a helicopter and placing it an entire set placing it on the top of a glacier. You know, incidents and experiences like this unimaginable. So yeah, so maybe some films turned out to be great, but I didn't exactly enjoy the making, and some films turned out to be not so good, eminently forgettable, but the making was so memorable.
If you had to write that one letter to somebody before you breathe your last breath, who would it be, and what would be the first 2 lines?
It's a very difficult question, Sreemoyee. It's. I feel like I'm sitting for Uccho Madhyamik all over again. Letter.
Or just something you'd like to pick up the phone and say. Who would you call? What would you say?
I would call my associate director and say that I don't think I'll be there for the edit. I'm leaving. So just make sure the edit is crisp. And you know what my edit points would have been. So please edit the film on my behalf.
And no interference.
No.
Yeah.
No, but that is given.
That's a given. A man who doesn't forget anything. A man who leaves us with images, memories, stories, characters which are unforgettable. Srijit, it was wonderful having you. Ami Jani, you have your fingers in many pies, and your with your multiple personality, I'm not going to call it a disorder. I know how sort of manic busy you are. But to take out time for me always, my work, my community, it means the world to me. We usually do a cheers at the end of the show for Straight Up with Shree. And thank you so much for being on this episode. I'm sure our viewers have loved it. If you have, do press like, share, subscribe and click on the ring button. And I can't wait to be back with another interesting guest, another interesting journey. Keep watching this space for more.